Okay children, pay attention. We are going to study about resources and development. In this chapter we are going to study about resources which are available in our country. Okay, when we talk of resources, then everything which is available in our country, in our environment, which can satisfy our needs, it is technologically accessible. Technologically accessible means we have got the technology to excavate those resources. Culturally acceptable means say for example, we in Western countries, beef is something which is used by the people, it is eaten by the people, but in our country it can hurt the sentiments of the people, therefore it has been banned in our country, so it is not culturally acceptable. Okay, economically, and the third point is economically feasible. When we talk of economically feasible, it means that we have whatever resources we are excavating, the money which we are going to earn out of it, that is more as compared to the technology which we have been employing to excavate those resources. This means economically feasible. Until and unless these three conditions are made, resources will not be accepted. When all these conditions are fulfilled, that thing is called as resource. We human beings are also a very important part of resources. Okay, we are the one who are converting these resources, these naturally occurring substances into uses, and then we are making it usable. Okay, second, we are going to study about classification of resources. Resources can be divided into four classification. One is biotic and abiotic. Biotic means those which is obtained from biological environment. Example, human beings, flora, fauna, forest, whatever, fishes. Okay. Second is abiotic. Abiotic are composed of non-living things. Example, rocks as well as metals. Okay. Then we are going to talk about on the basis of exhaustibility. On the basis of exhaustibility, resources can be divided into renewable and non-renewable resources. Renewable are those resources which are renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical or mechanical process. Example, solar energy, wind energy, water, forest, wildlife, etc. Okay, non-renewable resources are those resources which take a very long time to form, a very long geological time. Examples, minerals and fossil fuels, they take millions of years to reform. Okay, however, metals over here are recyclable, they are also included in this category. The next is we are going to talk of on the basis of ownership. When we talk of on the basis of ownership, resources can be divided into four categories over here. First is individual resources. Individual resources means resources which are owned by one particular person. Example, your house, your plot, your building, whatever, that is your resource, your parents' resource. Second is community owned resources. When we talk of community owned resources, they are owned by the entire community. Example, burial grounds, parks, ponds, lakes, roads, okay, which can be used by everybody. Picnic spots, playgrounds, these can be used by everybody. Next, we are going to talk of natural resources. When we talk of natural resources, it includes all the resources that belong to a nation. They are also called as resources of the nation. A country has got the legal power. Say for example, a road has to be made or railway track has to be laid down. Some houses is coming between which belongs to any individual. Then government will take away that house, give the compensation to the particular person. But since road has to be constructed or flyover has to be constructed or railway track has to be laid down, then that person has to give up that house. Okay. So because it is the benefit of large number of people. Okay. Now, beside that, when we talk of natural resources, one thing over here about which we are going to talk is exclusive economic zone. What happens when we talk of, say for example, many a times we have heard that the Pakistani fishermen, they entered into the waters of India and they were caught by the Coast Guard. So what I mean to say over here is this, that we have got a right up to a certain extent, and that extent is from a coastal area up to 22.2 kilometer, which is also called as 12 nautical miles. That belongs to our country India, and it is called as Indian territorial waters. It is also called as exclusive economic zone of our country. In this 12 nautical miles, if any Pakistani fisherman enters, then he can be arrested. Similarly, Pakistan also has got territorial rights up to a certain extent in their country. If any Indian fisherman enters over there, then he can be arrested by the Coast Guard of that people. Okay, so this is territorial waters or exclusive economic zone of our country. Next, we are going to talk of international resources, the fourth category. When we talk of international resources, then after the exclusive economic zone, we take 200 more nautical miles. Okay, 200 more nautical miles. After that, the open ocean belongs to no country whatsoever. Okay, no country can utilize that particular water. It belongs to international institution, and if we have to do any kind of work over there or any kind of excavation over there, we have to take the permission of international organization. The word in your book for permission is concurrence. Is that clear? Okay. Next, we are going to talk of on the basis of status of development. When we talk of on the basis of status of development, resources can be divided into potential resources. Okay, potential means we all have got the potential to perform well in the exam, but what we lack is the hard work. Okay, some of you, everybody has got brain, every teacher is same for everyone. Okay, but yet some excel in examination and some do not. That is what I mean to say is, we all have got the potential to excel, but we lack the will as well as the hard work. Similarly, India has got potential. Say for example, we take Rajasthan. Rajasthan has got the potential of generating hydroelectricity or solar energy basically. Okay, solar energy, generating solar energy, but we have not developed so far, and we cannot. Rajasthan has got abundant amount of solar energy which can be generated, which can be converted into electricity, but it has not been done, and that is why what happens, that we lack in electricity. Okay, this is what you mean by potential resources. Resources which are found in region but not have been utilized. Okay, similarly, the second is developed resources. Developed resources are those resources which has been developed and presently we are using them, fully measured also, estimated also, excavated also, and now they are being used for the development of the nation. Next, we talk of stock. When we talk of stock is something which is there in the nature, but we lack technology. Okay, here I am going to give you all the example of, say for example, water. We all know that water is made up of two components, hydrogen as well as oxygen. Okay, but we do not have the technical know-how to make water and make it available in those areas where it is deficient. This is called as stock. Another part of stock is another category of resources, that is reserve. Reserve means it is a part of stock, it is a subset of stock only, which is put into use. But presently we have got the technical know-how, we have got the technology, but we are not reusing it at present. We are keeping it for the future. For the future, say for example, dams, man-made dams, they have got water in them. Okay, but this water, we all know it can generate electricity, but we are not using this presently. We are keeping it for future generation of electricity. Therefore, hence it is called as reserve. Okay, now next we are going to talk of development of resources. When we talk of development of resources, we know that resources are very vital for human survival and for maintaining the quality of life, as well as for development procedure resources. But we should also remember that mere availability of resources does not guarantee what? Does not guarantee development. Here you can take the example of Japan, which does not have any resources, yet it is one of the country which is not competing with any Asian countries, but it is competing with European countries. Similarly, Africa is another continent which has got ample amount of resources, yet it lacks in infrastructure and basic services. It is where poverty is rampant. Therefore, this makes us to draw the conclusion that mere availability of resources does not guarantee development. So here we are going to talk of resources has been indiscriminately used by people. The result of this is being seen everywhere, and it has resulted in first depletion of resources. When we talk of depletion of resources, we know that every country is facing this problem, whether it is petrol or kerosene or whatever. We all face problem of depletion of resources. Okay. Then we talk of accumulation. We also see in our world, in the entire world, that there are certain countries which is having resources in abundance, whereas there are certain other countries which lacks in resources. Okay, so it has divided the world, the society into two categories, haves and have-nots. Rich people, for them nothing is impossible, okay, but poor people, they find difficult in getting drinking water also. This has led to one more problem, that is indiscriminate exploitation of resources has resulted in global ecological crisis such as global warming, ozone layer depletion, environmental pollution or degradation of land. Therefore, equitable distribution of resources is necessary. It is essential for sustained quality of life. Okay. This brings us to the concept of resource planning. Because of these conditions, resource planning has to be done. Resource planning, when we talk of resource planning, then presently in today's time, it is the concept of sustainable development which is becoming very important. You have studied this in your first chapter of economics. Development, but not at the cost of environment first. Secondly, development, but keeping in mind the needs of future generation. This is called as sustainable development. Okay, for that matter, the various countries of the world, they are organizing various kind of agendas, various kind of meetings. One is Rio de Janeiro Summit, which took place in 1992, and they adopted this Agenda 21 so that countries has to control environmental pollution which they are causing. Okay. Next, we are going to talk of resource planning. Now, resource planning, it is a strategy for judicious use of resources. It is important in a country like India furthermore, because here what we find is this, that resources are not distributed in an equal manner. Some places are very rich in resources, Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, MP. Some states are not having any resources. Okay, let me tell you all this. Say for example, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, MP are rich in mineral resources and coal deposit. Arunachal Pradesh on the other hand is having abundant amount of water resources, but it lacks in infrastructural facilities. Okay, Rajasthan is endowed with enormous amount of solar power, but again it lacks water resources. Then cold desert of Ladakh is isolated, but it has rich cultural heritage, but is again deficient in infrastructural facilities. Okay, next, conclusion. After this, what we talk about is, that is under such condition, planning for resources is very important, not only at the national level but at the regional level, local level, state level, and at home also. At home also we are supposed to switch off the lights, we are supposed to use water judiciously, not to waste water, and so on. Okay. Resource planning in India, when we talk, then resource planning has got 3 stages. In the first stage, if I tell you all to make an inventory of your school furniture, then what you are going to do is, you are going to go in each classes, count the tables, count the chairs, blackboards, fans, this, that, everything, and then you are going to make what? A list out of it. Okay. So this is what preparing an inventory. Identification of inventory, it involves surveying, mapping, qualitative and quantitative estimation and measurement of resources. Planning structure, when we talk about the second stage is planning structure. That is thinking that what kind of strategy has to be used, what kind of technology has to be used to excavate those minerals, whether labor intensive technology or mechanized process. If a country is having abundant amount of labor, then they are going to utilize labor. Okay, if they are having shortage of labor, then they are going to use machine. This is your second stage. And the third stage is matching the resource development plan with the overall national development plan. This stage, that is, resources are excavated and then they are utilized for the development of our country. This stage is also called as action stage, action oriented stage. Till here we are going to put a full stop over here. In the next class we are going to continue from importance of resource planning, children. Is that clear? Okay.